Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Inept General, and welcome to my Total War Warhammer Bretonnia unit testing video. In this video, I'll be looking to test how units match up against each other in the Total War Warhammer game, as far as the new Bretonnia units are concerned. There are a couple of exceptions to this. I didn't have any lords fighting against each other, and I missed out skirmishers because it's quite difficult to get the AI to play along with you when you're trying to just test out skirmishing against other skirmishing units. But apart from that, I've included some flyers, not all of the flyers, because it's hard to get good matches. There's not exact matches for flyers on each army. It's not like cavalry or infantry. Flyers can be a bit temperamental. But apart from that, try to make the testing as vanilla as possible, with no sort of supporting generals who add buffs to units or anything like that, just to try and give us an idea of how the Bretonnian units stack up one for one against units from other factions, and where we might find advantages in playing as Bretonnia. Hope you guys enjoy this one. It's my first unit testing video, so do have mercy on me in the comments if you see anything you don't like. And if you have any other ideas for matches I didn't necessarily throw up on here, do let me know, and I can maybe make a part 2 to this video and test out those combinations as well. Thanks very much for watching this one, guys, and do enjoy. And the first unit pair-up we're going to be starting off with is one that will affect the meta for years to come, I'm sure you'll agree. Peasants versus zombies.
Peasants making a wonderful charge in there, looking great. With their pitchforks, shovels, sharpened shovels, very dangerous, bear in mind. Against the smelly zombie horde. Looking great. I didn't end up recording this one on the Glacial Lake, apologies for that. All the rest of them are. The ground's slightly uneven here, but hopefully it's not conveying. I tried to find the flattest place on this map, but the rest of the team-ups on this one are matched up with the Glacial Lake to make it as even as possible for both sides. Sorry, audio cut out there for a second. Oh, that poor peasant. Oh, ouch. They're both doing alright. It looks like the peasants have slightly the upper hand at the moment. That's a bit debatable, but as good as even Stevens, really. Speeding it up a bit. This might take a little while. Starting to waver. Still wavering, but hanging in there.
It's going to be close, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be very, very close. I think the peasants are going to flee just because of the fear-causing effects of the zombies. Yeah. There we go. They were trading pretty effectively at one point, but that was just a bit too much for them. Will they rally? There's a question. We had to bring in another unit here, ignore them. Rally, lads, rally. Anyway, I think we're going to end that test there, guys. As you can see, we had a failed peasant mob. It's just the fear-causing effect of zombies a bit too much. Otherwise, they trade pretty equally, I'd say. And next up, guys, we have the same peasant mob going up against some spearmen. I really just wanted to see how the peasant mob could hold up against something that doesn't cause fear. Now, the spearmen cost us 300, the peasant mob 100, so the spearmen should win this handily. But let's just see how the peasant mob does. Spearmen without shields.
shall live.
And they're losing. Let's speed this up. Let's go full speed. Yeah, they're losing pretty handily at the moment. They're already shaken. Damage sustained. Faster, stronger enemies nearby. Yeah. Can they at least knock a third of the life off the spearmen to see if they're value for money? That'll be the real test. Nope, they break. Alright. And can they be caught? They can be caught by spearmen as well. Okay, hold on, that's interesting. What's the speed on these guys? 33. 31. They shouldn't be able to be caught by them. Something to bear in mind. They didn't even take a third off. Maybe just about a third off, actually. So that seems about right cost-wise, I suppose, for them. But no, so worse than zombies, unless you can back them up with some of the morale supporting generals or the Grail Reliquary even. Alright guys, on to the next test. Okay guys, moving on from the peasants, we have the men-at-arms with swords. Now we know the peasants can't even really pass as a tar pit just to their poor morale, except in the case where you maybe have them backed up by something else. But let's see what these men-at-arms can do against regular spearmen for the Empire.
We fighters, Grail Guardians!
Now the men-at-arms have no support here, nothing of the sort, and this is just spearmen by themselves. They both walk the same distance or run the same distance to engage each other in the fight. And the men-at-arms are 250 gold, and the Empire Spearmen 300. So technically the Spearmen should be able to take this. But although Spearmen are geared for anti-large, these guys just have blades. Let's have a look at their card. They're looking pretty even. Some nice kicks from the men-at-arms. Alright, let's speed this up a bit. Oh, it's looking even Stevens. I think the men-at-arms might actually take this, you know? Yeah, men-at-arms with swords can defeat their more expensive counterparts, the spearmen, although, admittedly, spearmen are there for anti-large rather than fighting infantry units. But, you know, just cost-effective-wise, if you want to have some cheap Bretonnian infantry just to deal with some pesky spears that might be in your way, these guys might be good enough for the job by a good long way. Alright, guys, we'll end that one there. So, yeah, good anti-spears. Men-at-arms, and they're cheaper. Only by 50 gold, but still. Let's move on to the next test. Okay guys, men-at-arms with shields against marauders. 350 men-at-arms with shields, 375 marauders. These are probably the closest in cost, infantry-wise, to the Bretonnian men-at-arms. Let's see how they do. As you can see, they have less health, less leadership, less speed, less melee attack.
Save us from dark powers.
120, same units. And that's only 25 difference between these two units. Now I suspect the Marauder's going to walk away with this quite handily. But it's just an interesting thing to point out. How close they are in cost. Let's speed this one up a little bit. Because I think this will be pretty one-sided just looking at their stats, but 375 versus 350. Oh, closer than I thought it was going to be. Actually, much closer than I thought it was going to be. And the leadership is holding for the Bretonnians as well, which is quite rare. They traded pretty, that was tight. Again, the leadership went, otherwise it would have been even closer, but that was much tighter than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, there we go. Marauders versus Men-at-Arms. Let's move on to the next test, shall we? Okay guys, moving on to Men-at-Arms with shields. Now this costs 100 more gold for 8 more melee defense, but they are going up against Empire Swordsmen, who are 400 gold, so 350 to 400. Stats wise, the swordsmen look like they should have this probably. A little bit less melee defense than the Men-at-Arms with swords. And here they go. Very high jump from an Empire Swordsman there.
Slay them! Kill everything!
That was a lovely spin. Alright, let's see how they're holding up. That's pretty even. Alright, falling behind a bit now, the Men-at-Arms. Yeah, falling behind. Okay, yeah, significantly falling behind now. But you know what? They're holding up these swordsmen for a good long time. How long will their morale hold out for? They're taking them all the way. The morale's still good. Yep, holding out, holding out. Oh, here we go. Morale's starting to fade. And it's gone. But, took them close. Yeah. So that's the 50 gold difference there between the two of them. I'd say if their morale had stuck in there, they could have really gone a much closer fight. They would have essentially reduced the swordsmen to just completely ineffectual unit size. So yeah, effectively they've engaged my yeomen, who are just my generals for this one. But yeah, effectively could have reduced the swordsman down to nothing worth worrying about. So a fair exchange there, and for not much cheaper, but for a little bit cheaper. So yeah, alright, we'll move on, guys. Next up, guys, we have Spearmen at Arms versus Shielded Spears of the Empire. Hope you guys don't mind me using the Empire for these infantry tests. I just think a lot of people have a good idea of where the Empire infantry stands in terms of their sort of comparison to other factions. So I thought they'd make a good test subject. So these guys, again, are kind of a running theme comparing these two infantry forces. The Bretonnian infantry, 50 cheaper than their equivalents in the Empire. Let's see how they hold up. Lots of stabbing, lots of kicking, lots of stabbing. Alright, let's speed it up. Look at the health bars, let's go. Who are you rooting for, guys? Men at arms, taking it. Oh, gun falling a little bit behind. I think this will be near enough even that it doesn't matter. The leadership, again, I think we have a running theme here for the infantry. The leadership, again, will let Bretonnia down, but effectively what will happen is they'll get the spears down to a point where the spears aren't even a unit worth worrying about. That's my prediction. How's the morale holding up? Damage sustained, losing currently, -2 from tired. They're very tired, we're both very tired. And they're super jazzed because they're winning. Actually, this may be one of the least comparable fights compared to the men-at-arms fights we've just seen. Alright, yeah, Spearmen at Arms significantly better actually than the Spearmen, Empire Spearmen with shields, significantly better than the Spearmen at Arms. That's maybe the worst comparison we've had so far. Actually, maybe not. They're clawing it back a little bit. The Empire morale holding strong, and as per usual, but only took half their life off. And for only a 50 gold difference, that's I think probably the most significant difference we've seen in the 50 gold sort of comparisons we've done so far with the Bretonnian infantry and the Empire infantry. So while they chase them down, let's move on to the next test, shall we? Hi guys, we're back at the same test, but this time I'm the Empire Knights, and hopefully the Bretonnian AI will stand exactly where they are, and we'll see if there's a difference if they just take the charge while standing firm. Because if they can't take one of the weakest calves in the game, I'm not sure what they could take down. Here we go. Oh, stand firm, you silly Bretonnians. Right, they weren't going to. That charge devastated them. I think we're just going to get the same result as last time here, guys. AI wouldn't cooperate on that one, so I'm not 100% sure how that would go. But just judging by the huge difference between the two, I don't think even standing still, resisting against a charge, that Spearmen at Arms can take a unit of Empire Knights. And there's obviously a huge cost difference, but you're obviously hoping to put these guys on the flank to protect you against something, and these are the lowest tier of cavalry the Empire has. So they're not doing much there at all, really, and then they're going to break. So that's that. I'll leave that there. If you guys disagree, do drop it in the comments. If you've had these spearmen be of help at all, let me know.
Light the way! Spurs, lads! Quick march! Have at 'em! They're coming in the flank!
Okay. That didn't go perfectly, but I was trying to bait these guys.
Mounted yeomen!
It's fighting my Pullman at arms. While they were standing still. They were kind of standing still. The Empire Knights didn't exactly get a charge on them. And the Pullman seemed to be able to do the job. Oh, don't cycle charge, you pussies.
All men! Fight! Kill! Our lives depend on it!
Yeah, cycle charging might get them here. The AI, I just wish it'd be a bit more cooperative, really. But yeah, it looks like Pullman at Arms, if you want to take down some cav, Pullman at Arms can actually do it. If these guys weren't cycle charging, but they're still even getting the better of them, even with the cycle charging. Hold.
All men! For the king! We will kill them all!
Get him, Pullman. Okay, Pullman at Arms can do some work. Can do some work on a cavalry unit. Spearmen at Arms, just there for decoration. Stop cycle charging. God damn it, AI.
Protect Bretonnia!
Okay, particularly if you can trap these guys, the Pullmen at Arms gonna do a job for you.
Our liege lord demands!
Take that from me. Yeah, they've won this one anyway. You can keep cycle charging all you want. They've got you. Stupid cavalry. There we go. Okay, guys. So yeah, Empire Knights can be taken down by Pullman at arms, not Spearmen at arms. Don't make that mistake. Okay, next experiment. Okay, guys. Here's a fun one. Our Nutters versus their Nutters. Battle Pilgrims versus Flagellants. Let's see what we've got. Shielded Frenzy 120. 120, same unit size. Battle Pilgrims have more health, more armor, less leadership, less speed, more melee attack, more melee defense, less weapon strength, less charge bonus. So it's mutual charge. Let's see how it goes. Ah! For the lady! Screw Sigma! We don't need scripture on our chest. We can't read. We taught you to read. That's against the teachings. Okay. I do like the look of the Battle Pilgrims, though. I'll give you that for nothing. Are they all bald? Or did they... Yeah, no, that's just a weird haircut. Alright, cool. Good for you guys. Alright, let's have a look at how their health bars are doing. Yeah, looks like the Battle Pilgrims will take it against Flagellants. Let's speed it up a little bit, although this looks just like fun. Just two groups of complete religious nutters bashing each other's heads in. It's pretty funny. Look at this gimp mask on this guy. God, what do you do? Jesus. Maces flying. Whoa. Alright. Let's speed it up. Looks like... Actually, there's no need, really. Looks like the Battle Pilgrim is going to take this quite handily. I suppose the Flagellants aren't ever going to give in, so they might actually take it down to the death, so we will speed it up. Yeah. Pretty effective. Even with the no breaking of the Pilgrims, yeah. Alright, let's go on to the next one, guys. Battle Pilgrims beat Flagellants. They're the more religious. Proven. Okay, guys, sticking with the Battle Pilgrims, very close cost-wise, Savage Orcs. This could be an interesting one. Savage Orcs also have Frenzy, also damage dealers. No shield on the Savage Orcs, though. Here's how their stats compare. More health for the Battle Pilgrims, more armor, more leadership, well, yeah, more leadership, more melee attack and more melee defense. But weapon strength and charge bonus, that's all Savage Orcs. They're trading pretty evenly. I mean, they do have similar costs. Bear in mind the Battle Pilgrims are 50 more expensive. Oh, this is tight. It looks like the Savage Orcs are pulling ahead slightly. Yep. I think the Savage Orcs are going to take this one. Well, you rain down some missiles on these orcs in the charge, and the Pilgrims will take them, but that was very tight. They effectively almost completely cancel each other out. And And leadership isn't really an issue for the battle pilgrims, it doesn't look like. Oh, who's going to break first? Oh, wow. Just due to their higher leadership, perhaps their immunity to psychology, they took it. They were losing, I think, health-wise. What do you guys have left? 900. Yeah. You had more than double hit points more than the battle pilgrims. But you still caved, Savage Orcs. Okay, interesting. The psychology gave up on the Savage Orcs. But that's real tight. They effectively... You can interchange those, the Pilgrims and the Savage Orcs. That was interesting to know. Okay, moving on to the next test. Okay, guys. Now, this is just more of a standard setting, really. We've got Swordsmen versus Battle Pilgrims. Now, Swordsmen, 200 cheaper than Battle Pilgrims. But let's see how this goes. Expecting the Battle Pilgrims to win, but I've been mistaken in these tests before. Let's speed this one up. We've seen the Battle Pilgrims in action enough at this point. Indeed, as expected, it looks like the Battle Pilgrims can handily take a unit of Swordsmen. Catching back up, but the morale won't hold up with the sword. Oop, coming back up, going back down. Morale's all over the place for the Swordsmen. Indeed, beaten, but not without cost. Okay, good to know, guys. So that's Battle Pilgrims. I think we'll move on from the Battle Pilgrims now. Okay, guys, next up we have the Foot Squires. Now, we're doing the obvious test with the Foot Squires against the Greatswords. Now, Foot Squires are 700 gold versus the 950 of Greatswords. So let's see what kind of a difference that 250 makes. Greatswords have to be favorites for this one. And indeed, the designers have multiple times mentioned that the Greatswords are better. But let's see how much better. Are they 250 better is the question. At the moment, it wouldn't seem so.
Kill the soldiers! Our leech lord demands!
That seems a pretty... Yeah, we're slowly falling behind, but that was a pretty even start, I have to say, from both sides. Perhaps due to the larger charge burners from the Foot Squires. Okay, now the leadership's going. You can see very much the leadership so far in all our tests has been the bane of Bretonnia units. And that's why I think the supporting Grail Reliquary and stuff like that, and the leadership of the Lords, is so important for Bretonnia. But you know what? They're not doing badly. That poor great swordsman.
Slay them!
Alright, let's speed it up a bit. Looks like the great swords are going to take it, as they were designed to do. It's much tighter than I was expecting it to be, I have to say, for the 250.
Bring them to their knees!
They are about 1,000 hit points ahead of us at this point. 867.
Battle!
I mean, yeah, leadership went, but you as good as took out those great swords, to be fair. And they still have 1,700 health. That's still quite a good amount, not a good amount of health, but okay for having just taken down one of their better units. Interesting to know. So that's how they match up against one another, guys. Let's see what else the Foot Squires can get up to. Okay, guys, next up for the Foot Squires, Dwarf Longbeards with great weapons. Having a look at their stats compared to each other here, guys. So, less health for the Foot Squires. More armor? More armor, no, yeah. More health for the Foot Squires. More armor for the dwarves, as one might imagine. But here we go. They're very comparable in cost. I think the dwarves are maybe 50 more expensive. That's a decapitated dwarf right there. My word. The violence, the violence! These guys mean business. I do like their little mustaches, though. Nothing compared to a Dowie beard, of course, of course. Alright, let's pull out, let's see how they do. Looks like the foot squires might take this. Let's speed it up. Yeah, foot squires doing well against the dwarves. Against the more expensive dwarven longbeards. That's impressive. I'm genuinely impressed by that. I did not think they'd do that. Handily won. Handily. Okay, let's put them against something tougher next time. Okay guys, so we saw the foot squires were able to disperse with longbeards with great weapons fairly handily. Let's see how they do against hammerers. Now, 1400 difference. Significant kind of stats differences here. But let's see how they hold up.
Fight! Kill! Our lives depend on it!
So far, pretty good. 700 versus, I think, 1200? I think that's what they're worth. I can't 100% remember that. I may have said 1400 earlier, but I don't think it was more than double what these guys are worth. But it was pretty high. And that is, they're doing okay. They're dropping further and further behind. The leadership's starting to go. They will hold while you hammer an anvil. Wolves, yeah, we've been killed. So yeah. 2 foot squires would have been interesting versus the dwarf versus the hammerers, but indeed, with that huge cost difference, they do walk away victorious. And about where you'd expect for that cost difference being 700 versus the 1200. So yeah, they can surprise us versus the longbeards with great weapons, costing a little bit less than them and beating them fairly handily, but can't take the hammerers. Let's move on. Okay guys, we're back with the foot squires, but I'm doing a fair amount of extensive testing on these guys because this is the best infantry Bretonnia has, so I think it's fairly important to know what it can stack up against. This time against Graveguard with great weapons. Now I think what's going to get them here is the fear more than anything else. I think they can probably hold their own if they had a morale boosting thing behind them, but let's just put them head to head and see how it goes. Okay. Let's have another look at his lifestyle. 950 versus 700 here, bear in mind, guys. 950 for the Graveguard with great weapons, and 700 for the Foot Squires. It looks like the Foot Squires are actually going to take this one, even with the fear and their relatively poor leadership. Yeah, taking it handily at this point. They're going to start crumbling. Maybe not. Coming back. It looks like they are going to lose. Or they're going to pull it back. Don't pull it back. You'll make me look bad. Shaken. Critical binding. Damage sustained.
We fight as Grail Companions!
They're going to take them tight, but I think, yeah, they're going to walk away with it. There we go. So yeah, taking out the much more expensive Grave Guard there. And the Thea didn't even get to them leadership-wise. So that was actually quite impressive as well. So taking out the more expensive Longbeard Great Weapons, the more expensive Grave Guard Great Weapons. I'm going to maybe test them against a Greenskin unit next, so let's have a look at that. Okay guys, we're back here with the Foot Squires against some Black Orcs. Let's see how this goes. Stats-wise, Black Orcs are better at everything. That's 1100 versus 700. Let's see how this goes. Now they pulled out a couple of surprises today, the Foot Squires.
Die, greenskin scum!
Yes, die, greenskin scum. Looks like they're doing pretty well. No, yeah, the Black Orcs are going to take this, but let's see how much damage the Foot Squires can do. Let's speed it up a bit. About the same as they did against the Dwarves with Hammers. A little bit better. That kind of matches up cost-wise with what the Dwarves with Hammers had. So unfortunately can't take them down. Alright, let's move on. Hi guys, this may be the last test for the Foot Squires against what I've always long suspected being an overpriced unit, Vestigors. So let's see how this goes. Vestigors great axes. The Vestigors always have great axes. I'm guessing so. Just haven't played them for a long time. I thought they had two hand axes. Maybe that's just my imagination. Let's see how they do. Oh, they are beating them. This is 1100 versus 700. So maybe the Vestigors aren't overpriced. That's just me being delusional. Yeah, again, a little bit worse than the Dawi, a little bit worse than the Black Orcs. But yeah, they're doing alright. The morale might give out soon, but they're holding. The Beastmen morale might give out soon. Again, not a great morale army, the Beastmen either. I think they're going to lose this one, the Foot Squires, but going to take it real close. Well, not that close, about 1,000 difference in their hit points. Yeah, 800 to 900 difference. It was a good effort, put in a good fight, but can't take the Vestigors out, unfortunately. So that will conclude our Foot Squire testing. Thanks for being patient with me on that one, guys. I was just really curious how the Foot Squires would hold up against all the different armies and all the different sort of best infantries that other armies had, really. But let's move on, shall we? Moving on to the cavalry, guys. We have Knights Errant versus Boar Boys. About 50 difference in favor, 50 gold difference in favor of the Orc Boys. Same unit sizes, not in lance formation. We're going to test both lance and non-lance with these guys. But let's see how they do just against Orc Boys normally. These are the young knights just trying to prove themselves. Some heraldry from, I think that's Carcassonne heraldry. Quinnell, the unicorns. Carcassonne's usually the swords. That'll give you a hint, chaps. They've done a nice work with the heraldry. Brion is usually the axes, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And that's it. Orc Boy's already done. Or running more than being done. I recovered a bit, running again. Orc Boy's more expensive, even without the lance formation. Knights Errant walking away with that one, quite handily. They do have anti-large, however, but so do they have anti-infantry. So maybe I think a fairer test might be, better fit might be against the Orc Boar Biggins, Orc Boar Boy Biggins, because they both have anti-large, but these guys are 950 compared to the 700 of the Knights Errant. Both have anti-large, but one's 250 more expensive. And already actually decimating them. That wasn't in lance formation though. Coming back a bit. Will their morale hold out? Doesn't look like it will. Here's how their stats compare. Much quicker than the Boar Boys. Don't run, you're doing alright. Okay. Knights Errant beat Boar Boys. Doesn't beat Boar Boy Biggins, at least not in Lance. Let's try Lance next. Okay guys, same test as last time. This time we're in Lance formation. Effects, deceleration, acceleration, and charge speed bonus, and charge bonus itself. That should have given us a better charge, but we still come off worse in the charge, and we never really recovered from there. This is exactly what happened last time. I'm not sure that lance formation did anything to help us, really.
We fight as Grail companions.
I suppose this works out. So they can take out the Orc Boar Boys, but can't take out the Orc Boar Boy Biggins. That's about fair. This is a 250 point difference, but they get absolutely annihilated by them. So watch out for that matchup. And we'll move on. We'll put them up against the Empire next. Okay guys, we've got our Knights Errant against Empire Knights. They're in Lance because that's 200 gold more expensive, the Empire Knights. And I may have misspoke earlier, I apologize. I think I was calling the Knights Errant anti-large, but they're not. They're just anti-infantry. Let's see how they do in Lance on the charge against Empire Knights. Got a huge dent on the charge.
Man of the hammer, you will die.
Interesting. Let's speed this up a bit. That weird sound you're hearing is meant to be the ice cracking. It's close. Ooh. I think they are going to lose this, but only just. Neither of them anti-large, so this could be kind of a straight swap. And the Knights Errant not winning, but doing pretty well. Indeed, losing that one as well, but doing alright. Empire Knights taking that with 2,000 health left. Okay guys, let's move on to the next test. Okay guys, here we have Knights Errant 700 against Black Knights. No lances, 700 as well. One is just cavalry, one is shock cavalry. But because they bang on the exact same price, I thought this would make a pretty interesting test here. Let's just fast forward this one. Looks like the Black Knights may take it. I suppose the longer they're in melee, the longer the advantages goes to the Black Knights. It's close. About 500 in it. Bit more. The longer it goes, yeah, Black Knights just took it. Because I think if you were cycle charging there, it would have come out victory for the Knights Errant rather than the Black Knights, just because of the nature of their two cavalries. But I thought interesting to see is they cost the exact same price. Okay, next up for the Knights Errant, we have Centaurs. These are the only cavalry I can really think of that were worse than the Empire Knights. And they are cheaper. I think these guys are about 800, and if the Knights Errant around 700, still these guys are cheaper than Centaurs. I think the Centaurs just took a charge there, which wasn't great for them. It wasn't a lance, because I wanted to see what these guys would do without the lance. Oh, Centaurs running. They're quicker. Yeah, they are quicker. They're not quick enough to get away. I think the Knights Errant are going to take this one handily, despite Centaurs being more expensive. But the Centaurs are faster. The young Knights aren't doing terribly. Fight the filthy animals. Okay, they won that one. Next, let's see how they, just as like a little thought experiment for me, not really a thought experiment, an actual experiment. I want to see how they do against Centaurs with great swords, and then we'll move on to the next unit. Okay, guys, Knights Errant versus Centaurs with great weapons. Coming at a bit of an angle, not ideal. Did some damage on the charge. It's not going their way today. 950 versus 700. Bear in mind, this normal Centaurs were more expensive than these guys, and these guys wiped the floor with them. Centaurs much quicker than Knights Errant. Getting work done. So Knights Errant seem to be useful. Can't really take out any other knights per se, but would be good to chase down archers and the like, I'm guessing, and just maybe an upgraded bit on your yeoman, really. But other than that, it doesn't look like you can take out a lot of other cavs, so try and avoid that. Try to have them engage infantry rather than any other cav. That's what I'd recommend. Okay guys, we're on to Knights of the Realm. Knights of the Realm versus Empire Knights. See how it goes. Ride with the Knights. No lance formation for this one. So I think lance formation versus cavalry is actually, from the impression I'm getting, is actually not that effective, because the changing direction of a cavalry unit not trying to engage you kind of completely limits the impact of the charge in the lance formation. Let me know if you guys have had alternative experiences, but that's just the impression I'm getting through these tests, guys. Yeah, it looks like Knights of the Realm walk away with this. 100 more expensive than Empire Knights, 100 gold that is. Let's speed it up. Yeah, they're sticking in there, the Empire Knights, but it looks like they're going to lose this one. And a good take. I'd say for 100 gold, that's a pretty good amount of health to walk away from for the difference between those units. So Knights of the Realm, at least against Empire Knights, that seems like a pretty good engagement for them, considering. Okay, let's see what Knights of the Realm can go against elsewhere in other factions. Alright. Okay guys, we've upgraded from Empire Knights to Reichsguard. Now it's interesting the way they price this. Empire Knights 900, Knights of the Realm 1000, Reichsguard 1100. Let's see what the difference is here between these two units. Reichsguard didn't really match us charge for charge, but it doesn't seem to have made too much of a difference. And these cavalry fights aren't necessarily best looking. Just a lot of lances in the air once the charge is done. So let's speed it up. Now, are we going to see as big a difference with Knights of the Realm against Empire Knights as we will with Reiksguard against Knights of the Realm? At the moment, it's looking very similar. Yeah, pulling it back. Looks like they might do a little better. No, about the same. So yeah, that's a very nicely stepped sort of region of class. Like, so they sit nicely in between the Reiksguard and the Empire Knights. It kind of works out. There seems to be an even gap between the three of them. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Okay guys, up against some undead here. Still with Knights of the Realm. Black Knights Lances, 1100 for them, 1000 for Knights of the Realm. Let's see how it goes. Both are shock cavalry, so they are comparable. Ooh. And it looks like we're going to get about the same result as we got with the Reiksguard. At the moment it does. Let's speed it up and see how it goes. If anything, they're performing a little bit better than they did against the Reiksguard, against the Black Knights. In fact, they're holding in there still. They're really going to take them to the wire, as it were. Yeah, a lot better against Black Knights than they were against Reiksguard. So that's interesting. And there we go. They held on almost all the way to the end. So yeah, almost still 1,000 hit points left on the Black Knights, but they did some work against them. They did a lot more work against them than they did the Reiksguard. So that's interesting to know. On to the next test. Moving on to the Questing Knights, guys. We have Questing Knights versus Chaos Knights. Both of them just regular, like cav, melee cav focused. Let's see how they do. Chaos Knights, 1400. I think Questing Knights, 1100 or 1200. I can't remember exactly. It's one of those two. Ooh, quick early lead there from the Chaos Knights. He has had their stats sort of stack up. Way less health and dropping. Way less armor than the Chaos Knights. Yeah, that's true. No shields either. Yeah, 300 gold difference between these two. Okay, so they can't really go up against Chaos Knights. I mean, they've done some good damage to the Chaos Knights, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, not quite in the same class yet for that 300 difference. But respectable. $1,600 health the difference in the end. What a lady! What a demoiselle! Okay, let's just fast forward that. We've seen that. Chaos are gonna win. Yay, Chaos. Blood for the Blood God. Okay. Okay, next up we have the Questing Knights versus the Wild Riders. 1100 for the Wild Riders, 1200 for the Questing Knights. Both 60 unit count. It looks like they've both done a significant amount of damage to each other.
For a lady!
No armor. Or less armor. Less melee attack, less melee defense, less weapon strength than the Questing Knights. They had a better charge. So it looks like the longer they're in, the better off the Questing Knights will be against the Wild Riders.
Kill the enemies of Bretonnia!
Okay. Great result versus the Wild Riders. You need something to kill Wild Riders. Get you some Questing Knights. Only 100 more expensive, and they did some good damage there. Almost 1,700, 1,800 more damage than the Wild Riders did to them. So that's a good matchup for the Questing Knights. Here's one of the big one, guys. Grail Knights versus Blood Knights. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see how they do. Not in lance formation. Two shock cavalry. Blood Knights, 200 gold more expensive than Grail Knights. How are they stacking up? Both anti-large. Grail Knights have living saints though. That might make the difference towards the end of the fight.
Bring them to the lady's mercy!
What's health like looking like on both sides? Oh, I didn't actually mean to give a chevron there to the Grail Knights. I'll have to check that. Or I think they've actually just got a chevron in this fight, actually. And the Blood Knights just got themselves a chevron. The Grail Knights are losing a little bit by 200 or so. Morale's holding. Blood Knights morale is... They're going back and forth. Real close. Grail Knights aren't going anywhere. Are you guys tired? They're fading. Whereas you guys are still just fresh. That might make the difference. Maybe not. 400 the difference now. It looks like the Blood Knights are just going to take it by about 400 hit points. Oh, 500. The lead's getting bigger. They are fading, but you guys are fresh, but it's not making much of a difference.
Destroy the undead!
Blood Knights by about 600 now. Staying in there, Grail Knights, got to hand it to them.
Destroy the undead! Pull back!
They had too many units left over. 11 left. Indeed. So there we go. Blood Knights just take it, but that was real tight. Let's try that one more time with the lance formation. I'm curious if that will make any difference whatsoever. Okay, guys, same fight, but lance formation this time. Let's see if this can make any difference. Very good charge off of the Blood Knight. Didn't seem to, it did, yeah, give us the early lead. In the lead, Grail Knights. Closing. Oh, that's closed. That lead's closed. The benefit of that charge. Yes, destroy the undead. They getting tired yet? No, they're active. We're still fresh, of course, in unlimited vigor. They do cause fear, however. It is hitting our morale. Oh, I think we're immune to psychology. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Alright, let's fast forward this a bit. Oh, even with the charge, even with us getting the benefit of the charge off in lance formation, it looks like the Blood Knight's going to take it. With an even bigger lead than last time. Interesting. But Blood Knights do take it, earning their money for being the more expensive. But I have to say, a good showing from the Grail Knights, just not quite as good as the Blood Knights. That's a shame. They did good damage to them, but just not as good. Alright guys, let's move on with the testing. Okay guys, Grail Knights versus Chaos Knights Lances. Exact same cost, both shielded, not in lance formation. Let's see how this one goes. What are you doing, Chaos Knights, you silly bastards? Alright, we're getting the charge off on them because they're being dumb. I think they charge back slightly, just in time. But these guys, exact same cost. Let's see how their stats stack up. So Chaos Knights have more armor, less leadership, less speed, less melee attack, more melee defense, more weapon strength. Interesting. Looks like the Chaos Knights are going to take this one handily.
We are the shield of Bretonnia.
But you lose against Blood Knights and Chaos Knights. Let's fast forward. Okay. No, fast forward a bit more. Yeah, Chaos in the lead, despite the fact Chaos didn't get the best charge off against us. Chaos Knights take it. By over 1,600 hit points.
We are the shield of Bretonnia.
I think that's it. Good for you Grail Knights for sticking in there, but
Obliterate them.
very interesting. I suppose if they're being buffed, there's a lot of buffs in the Bretonnian army, but in a straight head-to-head, Chaos Knights Lancers take it with a good bit of health to spare. 1,900 health to spare. Very interesting. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, we're back with the Grail Knights. Last test for the Grail Knights we're going to do is against Hippogryph Knights Halberds. Both have anti-large, a lot more units in than the Grail Knights. Let's see how this goes. In lance formation to give them the best advantage they can get, apparently. Alright, they seem to be causing some damage against the enemy. Kill the Sigmar worshippers? How rude! Yeah, it looks like they can take the Hippogryphs. I think maybe just overwhelmed with the numbers of the Grail Knights. Yeah. There are feathers flying everywhere. Bringing it close. Only 100 hit points in it, actually. Who's fleeing? Us? Oh no, them. Whoa. Both at the same time? I've never seen that happen before. An actual tie. An actual tie. That is fascinating. Okay, they both broke morale-wise at the exact same time. How much health difference do they have? 100. Yeah, they were winning. They were winning. That's pretty cool. I like that result. I'm not going to redo that one. I think that's very interesting that they tied. So there we go. Royal Altdorf Griffites. Not Royal Alt, just normal demigriffs with halberds. Okay guys, now we are looking at the Grail Guardians versus Chaos Knights. Grail Guardians more expensive than Chaos Knights. Chaos Knights handily beat Questing Knights. But let's see how they do against the Grail Guardians. Stop doing this thing, AI, where you don't charge me. It's annoying. Not a huge amount of charge impact either side though. Looks like we have more health from the Chaos Knights. More leadership, more speed, less melee attack, more melee defense, less weapon strength, and less of a charge bonus. But they do have Living Saint. Let's speed this up a bit. Both melee experts taking it out of each other, taking a bit of time to whittle each other down. Nice effects on their swords though, I like that. How are they doing now? Who's in the lead? Chaos Knights have a little bit more health. This one's going to go down to the wire and take a little bit of time. Looks like the Chaos Knights are actually maybe going to take this. And they're the cheaper. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. That's even with the Blessing of the Lady. 20% physical resistance. Oh, they've cut. Oh no, they're losing now. Oh, yeah, look at that. Chaos Knight's exhausted. Shaken, taken damage. The Living Saint thing is going to save their asses. The Living Saint thing's going to take it because they're still fresh. That's fascinating. Yeah, Chaos Knight's losing quite badly now. There we go. That's an actual demonstration of what a difference the Living Saints attribute can make. Chaos Knights just couldn't hold on. Once they got tired of swinging their swords and killing enough Grail Guardians, they just crumbled. And look, there's still a good quarter or more left of the Grail Guardians. Interesting. That was a very interesting test, the way that fight changed up. But there he goes. In sustained combat, Grail Guardians will take it from Chaos Knights. Let's see what else we can test them against. And here we are testing the Grail Guardians against Hexwraiths. Now, it's not exactly a fair test because they do magic damage, and I have a feeling they might just completely wipe the floor with the Hexwraiths. But let's have a look. Apart from the Chaos Knights, I'm not really sure if what other melee cav could actually go against them. Because at the moment, I think Grail Guardians walk away best sort of melee cav that you can get, or non-shock cavalry you can get. Yeah, the Hexwraiths already lost all their morale. They're going to crumble. Why did they lose their morale so quickly?
We fight as Grail companions.
Stronger and faster. Yeah, complete one-sided bout versus Hexwraiths. I suspected as much. But there wasn't much else to compare the Grail Guardians to. Very impressed with the Grail Guardians. Let's move on. Okay guys, we've got Royal Pegasus Knights going up against a Terrorgeist. Both of them have anti-large. Terrorgeist has way more health, but it's worse at everything except for melee defense, but thrashes them at weapon strength. So no boosts or buffing. I remember this is one of the first sort of matchups I remember seeing from the Total War Warhammer stuff. I think it was a preview, and I think Lionheart was fighting one of the devs. They dropped a couple of debuffs on his Terrorgeist and just wiped him, on his Pegasus Knights, and just wiped them out with the Terrorgeist. And I was like, oh, poor Pegasus Knights, they don't look like they're up to much in this game. But let's fast forward this might take a while. Holding their own at the moment. Cost-wise, the Terrorgeist is 400 gold more expensive than the Pegasus Knights. And it looks like that's going to show. Terrorgeist looks like it can take down a unit of Royal Pegasus Knights. What's the speed on these guys, on the Royal Pegasus Knights? Speed 80. That seems... oh no, speed 100 and... speed 80. No, speed 105. I keep hitting the Terrorgeist instead. His wings keep getting in the way of my pointer. Alright, so the Terrorgeist takes this one. Let's see if there's anything that in the air the Pegasus Knights can happily take down, shall we? I'm sure Harpies and Fellbats won't be any trouble for them. But let's see if we can find anything a bit more significant. Okay, and we're back with the Royal Pegasus Knights, and they are taking on some Vargeist now. The problem I've had with comparing the Pegasus Knights to anything, particularly the Royal Pegasus Knights, is nothing really fits in their cost-price bracket. They're kind of the same speed as the Eagles, so I didn't want to go against a pack of the Archer Eagles and the Wood Elves, because they just managed to stay away and they would just shoot them down if they were played properly. That being that concept. They could take down a Great Eagle without too much difference, but the Great Eagle's only 900 compared to the 1600 of the Royal Pegasus Knights. Vargeist don't stand a chance, absolutely demolished in the air. They can't take down a Terrorgeist. They'd be hard pressed to take down a Forest Dragon, I imagine. But these guys really very specific for charging down larger units, getting around the battlefield. Not necessarily the best suited unit for unit comparison as I'm doing it today. But I still think they're a great unit. They have a huge potential on the battlefield, just not necessarily up against... it's hard to compare them to other units in their own kind of genre, shall we say. So, yeah, that's the Royal Pegasus Knights. Okay, guys, we're moving on to our Royal Hippogryphs. And what we're going to do is we're going to see how they stack up against the Terrorgeist. They're exactly the same cost, 2,000 each. Let's see what they can do. Looks like this one might take a little while. Terrorgeist has anti-large, which might play in its favor. They're doing good. Let's check out some of these animations.
Flood these lands!
They look fun, the Hippogriffs. Alright, let's fast forward. It might take a while. The zombies are just chilling out. You just watch that fight, zombies. Ooh. Just because they just have so much health each other, they're just terrible at damaging each other. Oh, we've lost one unit. 2. Oh, Terrorgeist coming back strong. It's gonna be tight. Oh, 3 down to half units. I think, oh, they're just gonna lose this, I think, the Hippogriffs. Let's face it, they're not anti-large, so the Hippogriffs aren't really built for this fight. But I just thought it was an interesting comparison in terms of the flying unit. Their leadership's going, so is the Terrorgeist, so to be fair. Looks like, oh, another death. Terrorgeist's going to take this one with 800 more health than the Hippogriffs. speed on these guys. 65, not very fast. I wonder if they can catch a gyrocopter, because they have armor piercing. That'd be about the only thing that'd be worth having armor piercing for in the air. Really, they're not really designed for air-to-air combat. This is the only comparison I could think of, guys. I apologize for that. Like, I'm not going to have them just charge down on sort of armored units. That seems a bit unfair. But let's see what else we can put them up against in the air. Maybe the Eagle or the Forest Dragon or something like that. We'll have a look. We'll have a look at how they do. Okay, guys, now we're back for the Hippogryphs. I'm not doing a comparison with the Grey Eagles, with the Eagle Riders, because the Eagle Riders will just get away. They're too quick for the Hippogryphs, I think. I'll have to double check that, but I put them up against the Forest Eagle. Not Forest Eagle, Forest Dragon, sorry. And this is an anti-large, but it is armor piercing, so let's see how they do against the Forest Dragon. Treekin just like standing around having a watch. This looks a bit better, but they were doing good at the beginning against the Terrorgeist. One rider down, 2. This is exactly what happened against the Terrorgeist. 3, 4, no, 3. As the units drop, they just don't have the damage output to match their opponent. Yeah, there we go. And they lost that one too. That's a real shame. Alright. Let's move on to the testing then, shall we? Okay guys, we've established the Hippogryphs aren't the best at monster killing for their equivalent cost, but maybe they're good at hero killing. So we've got them going up against an Exalted Hero of Chaos on a Manticore. He has all his abilities, but no items, as per the multiplayer menu. Let's see how they do against him. The problem is once they drop models, that's when they get into trouble. But maybe this is their speciality, hero killing. It's looking like it might be. Oh, as soon as they start dropping models, it's going to turn the other way again, isn't it? There goes the first one. Is the Exalted Hero going to get enough of them but to turn the tide? Second one. Come on, Hippogryphs, you can do this. You can do this, guys. I believe in you. Keep fighting. Yes. And they take him. Is he quicker than them with the Manticore? Nope, same speed. Yeah, so good they could catch a hero and take a hero down without items. And if they were maybe buffed with Law of Life against a hero, they can easily take down an Exalted Hero and then be pretty useful thereafter. So yeah, maybe that's where they come into their own. Hero in general killing, not necessarily monster hunting. Alright, let's move on from the Hippogryph, shall we? And for our final test today, guys, bit of fun. Green Knight versus Archaon. I suspect Archaon might wipe the floor with the Green Knight just because of his magic stuff. But let's see how they come out. Horse to horse, sword to sword. Archaon, I've taken away all his magic except for the flaming sword spell. Because I figured anyone who's actually fighting the Green Knight will probably just be spamming that, as well as maybe try and get him with a fireball early on. Oh, Green Knight, I'm sorry, buddy. Do not go and fight Archaon on the battlefield. That will end in disaster for you. Oh no, poor Green Knights. Alright, let's fast forward this. I can't bear to watch. Alright, that guy. There goes the Green Knight. Poor guy. And that about concludes our testing for today, guys. I hope this was helpful and at least half interesting. I think the biggest surprises for me were the foot squires being able to take on the dwarves, and they really shined in that respect. Taking on guys a bit more expensive than them, they could prove, and if you start boosting them with some of the magic that Bretonnia has access to, could prove very deadly. The Grail Guardians, the Grail Knights were a little lackluster. I didn't think they'd be able to take on the Blood Knights. I thought they'd maybe be able to take on the Chaos Knights. But once you get some boosting behind them, and if you can keep them alive and sort of physical resistance up long enough that their Living Saints trait comes into play, that'll be really impressive. I was very impressed with the Grail Guardians as well, just completely wiping the floor of the Chaos Knights. Best melee cavalry in the game. Let me know if there's any other matchups you guys would really like to see. I tried to keep it sort of comparable as I could, and just try and give us a fair reflection of what we might be able to do with some of these new Bretonnian units. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please drop a like, and do subscribe for some more Total War Warhammer content from me, the Inept General. And thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope to see you on the next one.